Hello everybody and welcome to this veteran dungeon guide for Spindleclutch. My name is Geraint and I'll be your host for this guide. The Spindleclutch veteran dungeon is, like normal Spindleclutch, located in the Glenumbra area of the Daggerfall Covenant. The recommended level range for veteran Spindleclutch is veteran rank 1-5, although I would suggest to start it with veteran rank 2 or 3, as the monster levels are up to veteran rank 5. Also please note, this guide does not include any quests that may be available or possible alter events inside this dungeon. Furthermore, a quick reminder, if you are the group leader, be sure to switch to the veteran symbol in your group window before entering the dungeon. Otherwise you might find yourself and your group inside the normal version of the dungeon. With that said, let's get started by introducing the members of my group, all of them fellow Alith members. My group this time consists of Desdemona, Belisarius, the guild leader of Alith, and last but not least, Rogue. Okay, we are buffed up and move in to clear the first trash mob group. You can also follow our progress through the dungeon via the minimap on the top right corner of the screen. Be advised that Spindleclutch consists mainly of vampire-based monsters, and because of that, Fighter's Guild abilities can boost your damage output. The passages throughout this dungeon are sometimes very narrow, so the group has to watch out for the various AoE skills of the trash mobs and not get taken by surprise. The most dangerous skills are used by the archers with their arrow spray, as well as the fighters type with their shield charge attacks. It's of course also a good idea to focus on possible healers first if they are present. After clearing the first two monster packs, you will already face the first boss of this dungeon, Mad Mortine. He's a blood fiend with 7 adds. The tank should fight him facing away from the group, while the rest of the group is killing the adds. The fight itself is pretty straightforward, just watch out for his heavy attack, where he will jump in the air, and also watch out for his cleave attacks, which he will also charge up first. Other than that, he should be easy to kill. Only one trash mob group stands between your group and the second boss, but that one is not really different from the ones before, so just kill them and watch out for their AoE attacks. When you reach this cave, it looks empty, but don't be fooled, the second boss of veteran Spindleclutch is only waiting for your group to enter. As long as you don't run in too far, it is safe to enter and watch the boss jump down. That massive thing goes by the name Bloodspawn and is an oversized gargoyle. This fight is a DPS check for the group. More on that in a bit, but Bloodspawn can be skipped in worst case if you don't have the damage output needed to kill it. In case you want to skip it, your best bet is to circumvent it on the right side of the cave. With that out of the way, let me explain the tactics for this fight. Bloodspawn has two main attacks, and the second one should only affect the target with the highest aggro, aka the tank. The group should also stand close together at the boss spawn area in the middle of the room, with the tank facing the boss away from the group. The main attack manifests with the boss pounding on the ground, causing AoE damage as well as collapsing the cave, starting with the outer parts. You can try to evade the stone boulders falling down that way, but only at the start. If the fight lasts too long, there won't be any free space to evade to because of the enrage. The cave-ins will occur closer to the center, with every additional ground pound attack. That's why it's so important to stand close to the boss during this fight. Don't run out of the AoE circle, as it will cost you essential damage output. The healer should just heal through the damage while the rest of the group continues to attack Bloodspawn. The second attack happens right after the ground pound and is a heavy one-hit attack on the number 1 threat target. Now back to the DPS check and enrage timer part of this encounter. Bloodspawn has an enrage timer of 2 minutes. It's actually very easy to know when the enrage timer is reached, because Bloodspawn's ground pound attack happens around every 25 seconds. This means your group will have only some seconds left after the 4th ground pound attack to kill the gargoyle before it goes in enrage mode and collapses the whole room on your group, killing everyone. You can't miss the enrage activation anyway due to the fact that Bloodspawn now uses the ground pound attack continuously without any delay. Moving on, your group will now also encounter patrolling flesh Atronachs, with patrolling being the crucial word here, as it can happen that you aggro one of them while they patrol near another mob pack, and so getting their attention too. Best not to let that happen if you lack good DPS or healing. The tank can turn the Atronach away from the group to avoid the cone AoE damage, but it should be no problem for the healer to heal it. There is just one more mob pack in the way, and then your group will already have reached the 3rd boss. And here we are. Praxin is already waiting for us. This fight consists of 5 phases, or 4 add waves and the boss fight itself, if you will. Praxin will speak a little monologue, which gives your group some time for final buffs, and afterwards the fight will start. The first phase is the spider pack phase, the second phase is the big spider with spider adds phase, the third one is the humanoid group phase, the fourth is the Daedra spider queen with healer adds phase, and the fifth and last one is fighting Praxin himself. From my personal experience, it seems that some phases can sometimes bug out or not activate right, however you want to call it. If it's intended that way or not, depending on the group's damage output, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. What I can say is the phases are definitely timed somehow. So if your damage output is low, it will happen that you have the waves of multiple phases and or Praxin on you. Just in case, I will explain what can happen after the basic tactic instructions for normal encounter progress. Okay, now for the encounter strategies phase by phase. Phase 1, you manage best by AoE killing the spawning spiders. 18 of them, if I counted right. Don't name me down on this number, but it should be right. In phase 2, the tank should take on the big spider. You can't really miss that one. While the other group members focus on the adds. The big spider uses a heavy attack from time to time, which is blockable. Now, phase 3 is where this encounter gets interesting, so it is best to save up your ultimates for this phase. Two groups of human shades will appear, consisting of fighters, mages and healers. Killing the healers is your group's highest priority. They are the make or break point in phase 3. Also, watch out for the fighters' shield charge attacks. They can one-shot someone or even your whole group if the worst comes to worst and they stand in their way. Surviving phase 3 leads into phase 4, where the Whisperer's Nightmare, a Daedra Spider Queen, will spawn, accompanied by 2 healer adds, which need to be dealt with first while the tank focuses on the Queen. In our video here, phase 5 already starts at the same time as phase 4, and so making this encounter even harder. In case everything works as planned for your group, let me guide you through phase 5, fighting Praxin himself. He transforms into a wraith-like being and will put a circle of doom, as I call it, on a random group member. This circle can't be dispelled, and it also slowly moves around by itself, so the person trapped inside has to move with it. Don't ever touch the red walls or the border of the circle, neither from the inside or the outside, or everyone that does will be instantly killed. Furthermore, he will shoot out 3 ground-based beams that spread out but move rather slowly. Take care not to stand too close to him, else you will be hit by 2 or all 3 of them at once, and what happens then you can see in this video. In our defense, I have to say that we really got surprised by phase 4 and 5 happening at once, but we managed it quite well, I think. Unfortunately, that is not all, as you will also use a stamina magicka drain too, so make sure to have potions ready to level it out. With Praxin vanquished, you can now open the door and continue to the next area of the dungeon, where two mob pack groups bar the way. Once you finish them off, look out for three seemingly dead flesh Atronachs on the ground. You may want to buff and heal up because you have reached the fourth boss encounter, the Flesh Atronach Trio. As soon as you move closer to the bodies, they will come very much alive and attack the group in unison. It is possible for the tank to taunt all three of them at once, but it depends on the healer to keep the tank alive. Otherwise, the group just focuses on one of them. The only thing to notice for this fight is that as soon as one of the Atronach dies, the remaining ones get healed back up for a certain amount. So if you can't kill two or all three of them at once, it's best to kill them one by one. The Atronachs themselves behave just as stronger versions of their kind, so watch out for their cone attack and heavy attack, and you should come out of this encounter alive. I mentioned the patrolling Atronachs before. Take care when aggroing this particular one, as it has shown a tendency to activate also the mob group behind it. So either let it come closer to your group, or if you have the DPS or healing, go ahead and kill all of them should they aggro too with the Atronach. Other than that, just continue your way deeper into the dungeon while clearing the vampiric monster groups and flesh Atronachs. There is nothing else to watch out for till you reach the next boss area. Once the tunnel opens up again, you have arrived where Valeth, the fifth boss, stands guarding the door to the final boss. Veleth is, surprise surprise, also a vampire, and has very low health compared to the other bosses in Veteran Spindleclutch. To even out that disadvantage, he has 4 adds with him, 2 archer types and 2 warrior types. Watch out for the archer's AoE arrow attacks, as well as for the warrior's shield charges. Concentrate on the adds first, while the tank takes over the boss. Veleth is a Dragon Knight archetype, so he will use talents and Dragon Knight standard, as well as an occasional heavy attack that can be blocked. If your group is killing him fast enough, you won't even see Veleth's special ability, like in our video here, but it's easily explained. He will go into mist form, represented by a red circle, and following a random group member. Most of the time it's the tank. To avoid unnecessary strain on the healer, simply don't touch or run into the circle, just run away from it, with sprint if you have to, till he reappears. There's a high chance for him to use his heavy attack when he does that, so be prepared to block it. All in all, it should be a pretty easy encounter, just like Mad Mortine at the start of the dungeon. Fine, let's finish the vampire infestation of Spindleclutch once and for all, shall we? Take the stairs up to the stone door and enter the lair of Vorenor Winterborn, the 6th and final boss, who is, yep, correct, another, or better said the, vampire lord of Veteran Spindleclutch. Before I get into detailed tactics, I want to call attention to the unfortunate NPCs, captives, constrained to the wooden crosses placed around the room below. If you plan to go for the achievement, you can pretty much ignore what I say about them, as long as you stay away from them during the fight. In this guide we show how to get the dungeon achievement, but I will also explain in a bit what they are used for, in case you don't want to do it. I will also summarize some achievement how-tos before I finish this dungeon guide. Very well, allow me to explain some tactics to this encounter now. First, every one of your group needs to move down the ramp and get close to the fireplace in the middle of the room. If any one of you is too far away, the boss may not activate, and even if you are close to it, it may take some seconds till he decides to show up, so be patient. Before Vorenor appears, he will mess with every group member's mind in a story-based animation, so nothing serious to worry about just yet. After that, he will finally show himself to the group and attack. He has 3 main attacks and 1 healing ability. 2 of his main attacks deal heavy damage, the 3rd is a dot he puts on a random group member. In combination, those attacks can kill group members if they don't pay attention or don't get healed at the right time. Luckily, his attacks are pretty predictable if you watch him carefully, so let's have a look at them. He casts a red circle beneath a random group member, which does high damage the longer you stand in it. When he raises his hand, you can be sure the red circle will emerge any time, so either prepare to dodge or simply run around. His healing ability is also easily visible, as he will levitate in the air and then siphon off the health of his captives on the crosses. The siphoning will always start with the top right cross. You can see which one I mean in this guide. The next time, additionally, the lower right, then the lower left, and so on, clockwise. The longer the fight lasts, the more victims at once he will use to heal him back up. If your group doesn't plan to go for the achievement, you can stop his healing by killing the affected victim, or victims. In this case, it's best to fight him close to the cross that will be affected by his healing next. That way you can use AoE abilities on the boss and the cross NPC. Should you plan to do the achievement, however, then keep damaging him during this phase like we do in this guide. Now for his most dangerous attack, the heavy hitting teleport strike, which he also shows in a very distinctive manner. He raises his hand in the air, like on his red circle attack, but this time his raised hand pulses in a blood red light. This moment is critical, as all your group members should be completely healed up when he teleports to each one of them, striking with an undodgeable and unblockable heavy attack. This can potentially kill your group if your health is not high enough, and combined with standing in the red circle, it's certain death. But if you know all that, it should be manageable, even more so if you stop his healing by killing the crossed victims. I will now go into detail about the possible achievement for this boss. One is to defeat Vorenor Winterburn within 20 minutes of starting veteran Spindleclutch, and the other is to defeat him without killing any of the innocent victims held captives in his lair. That one I mentioned already before. Alright, that's pretty much all there is to say for veteran Spindleclutch. If this guide was helpful, please consider to like this video and or leave a comment. Be sure to also check out our other guides for ESO group dungeons. Our goal is to have a guide for every one of them over time, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and don't let an arrow hit your knee. I heard it's quite painful. Alright, take care and bye bye.